Hi, Sonam. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking time out for this and joining us in this conversation.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. I mean, it's a pleasure if I could, just contribute a little bit for everyone. So it's really pleasure to come and talk what I feel.
Thank you. So we are having these conversations where how things are getting impacted at a very granular level for everybody in one way or the other, and how we are coping. Like, how is it going for you? How are you feeling these days? How are things with your family? How has it been since the last couple of years? Because everything dramatically shifted. There are a lot of paradigm shifts we have seen in a lot of us. So how has it been for you?
So personally, so let me like put it across that way. Personally, emotionally, I had a cycle like this, a wave, a literal wave in real sense. All of a sudden, everything was closed. Everything was closed. Their normal lifestyle was changed. So yes, I have been going through this emotional wave of up and down. Sometimes feeling good, sometimes not feeling good, sometimes liking that the entire family is together, sometimes hitting it to the core. So this has been the ride for me. Touch with God's grace, we as a family have not been affected by it. Yes, the extended family has been affected by things like that. So that mental trauma that goes around it, oh, now what will happen next? What should we do? That anxiety, the level of anxiety that has kept increasing and coming down and increasing and coming down. So yes, there's been a lot changed in the past 2 years, to put it across in a very simple way. Although I've been a privileged one, I always had family around me, even like yeah, like my husband is in business, and in spite of him being in business, he's always been around me in the same house. Like, he will just leave his work and take care of my son. It's been that way. So all in those matters, in the social, the family matters, I've been very lucky. But personally, it has affected me. Emotionally, it has drained me off. Like, I could not get the time to revive myself or refuel myself because of the constant change of activities that happen.
Mhm.
So yes, that's the thing which worked on me emotionally. I was like quite broken off,
Mm.
specifically in the patch where the first wave was about to end and the second started, and this
Mm.
this entire thing made me really crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very interesting point you have made. Like, sometimes it looks like, okay, you have your family, you haven't been affected with, you have your husband supporting. So these are also certain things that you have so much privilege, but still, what's the reason for you to get anxious is some kind of guilt sometimes we get trapped in. And sometimes that's also the outlook we find in society, where we don't give ourselves the space to be jittery or anxious because everything else around you is fine. You're supposed to be fine, but I don't think it works like that, because you are a person, you have been giving in a care position, like you're a parent, you're a house, you're managing a household, you're doing a lot of things, and at the end of the day, uh, different things affect different people to a different extent. So the same
Hmm.
pandemic could bring out a lot of changes in a lot of people. So I think we are all facing the same challenges, though the privileges and the hardships are slightly different. Somebody could be impacted at a mental level, somebody could be impacted at a physical level, and both are equally important. I think we need to take care of ourselves more, and we should not be guilty that okay, everything is going well around, and what is this causing me? Sometimes people don't reach out for help thinking it's okay for me to suffer, and when everybody else is suffering a bigger problem, mine is just a small problem, and that's not the right way to go ahead with it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I totally believe in this, because what happens, and I realized I would have never realized it unless this thing would have not happened, to be very honestly speaking. And it was that in this entire span of 2 years, I was, you're giving a lot. Like, you're giving to your family, you have a child which you have to manage 24/7. You have your I have been a part working woman and a part homemaker kind of a thing. So you've been giving out a lot. You want to do this, you want to do this, you want to do this. There's an entire schedule for the day, and in that schedule, you don't have you in it. It's always about others. There's a checklist that I have to
Mm,
finish this, I have to finish this, I have to finish this. But in that checklist, where are you? You're
mm,
nowhere. And I
mm,
guess that is what took a toll on me, because things which I like doing, I stopped doing.
mm,
It was like there was no option, so I stopped doing. And whatever little things I was doing, inside the confine, inside your house or whatever with your family, that also changes, the equation
mm,
changes.
mm,
And that starts affecting your
mm,
emotional health.
mm,
And that what happened to me, which I did not even realize for the first 6 months. I did not even realize.
mm,
It was just an instigation one day that someone said something, and I just blasted off from
mm,
nowhere. It just come from nowhere, and that's when I realized, oh, what's wrong with you?
mm,
That's the thought process that comes. What's wrong with you? You never
mm,
acted in a particular way.
mm,
And uh, and that's where I was like, no, I need to something that has hurted me, that something has been pinching me, but I've been not taking care of me. So now,
mm,
let's start working on that, let's start
mm,
reviving on that.
mm,
Because that refuel thing which I keep telling is very important for us specifically, because we are the homemakers, we are everything, we are the first point of contact for the family. I think it
mm,
becomes very important that you have your
mm,
sanity in place.
mm. Yeah,
So
usually what
yeah,
happens is you're going about with your day, and there are a lot of things you want to accomplish. Usually what happens is the tendency is to put self-care the least priority. Like for example, you have 14, 15 waking hours or whatever number of hours, and you want to
yes,
do 10 number
yes,
of things, and you have managed to do only 8 things. The two that get carried to the next day are your self-care. Like,
on your
okay,
self
I'll
care,
take care of
absolutely.
myself tomorrow. When does
Yes,
that tomorrow become today? So that's the thing, right? So
we
okay,
procrastinating
I'll do this
every day.
for myself tomorrow. So that tomorrow never arrives. So that's the thing with it.
Yeah.
And probably it gets pent up, and it's not getting, like you said, it's not filled up, and then it is pent up,
Mhm.
and you don't even realize. You go about with your life, and then boom, it
Boom,
opens up
literally.
suddenly. So like you said,
And
i was
that's
going to ask
open.
i was going to ask okay, how did you come to that? What was the wake up call for you? Like, okay, something needs to be done here. So you, like you said, there was some conversation and you like burst out.
Yeah, so there was a basic conversation that I was having with my family, and my child was constantly,
Mm,
kids demand attention, so he wanted my attention, mama, 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 and I just blasted on him, and he got
oh,
scared, and
right.
I was like, oh my god, what have I done? Like,
Mm,
what have I done? He really got
mm,
scared,
mm,
and because I was so furious at that
mm,
time, I'm like, oh, I went on saying, my life has become a it's just that I am become a homemaker and I don't have anything else to do but just take care of the kid and this, and then I just went on because whatever frustration was building up in me, I just blasted that day on everyone. But the good part was everyone was obviously my child was crying, but the good part was my husband was listening to me at that point
mm,
in time.
mm,
And after listening to whatever rubbish I might have told him, he's like, hold on, you want a
mm,
break? One
mm,
day just don't come out of the room and I
mm,
will take care of,
mm,
Kian, you just go and just do whatever you want to do in this one day. We will
mm,
not ask for food, nothing. Just take a break inside, just lock yourself in the room and just do what you want to do. And
mm,
I guess that support which I got from him and that realization that happened to me at that very point of time, I was like,
mm,
I did take that 1 day break. I did
mm,
ask for that break. I did take that 1 day break. And that's when I realized, wait, now it's time to even think about yourself, because I realized in that 1 day break that I was going through this emotional turmoil, that,
mm,
I was not liking
mm,
I actually had started hating the life,
mm,
which I was living around. And I started cribbing about things
mm,
which were not meant to be cribbed. Like, if
mm,
someone kept my clothes from year to year also, like it was like, how could you do that? It was that
mm,
kind of. So these were very minute elements, but that
mm,
had really gotten into me. And that's when I realized, no, there's something to be done. There's some
mm,
routine that I had to create for myself. I did
mm.
not know what routine. I did not know even where to start. But yes, there's something that I need to know. That kind of acknowledgement I did that one. So that's how the aeroplane passed by.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, that is that one point I realized that something has to be done. What I did not know,
Mm,
but I was very well aware that every day I have to remove 1 hour or do something with myself that can, be very effective for my emotional healing. That's what I understood. That's what I understood.
Good. Yeah, that looks like a major turning point internally, because sometimes, like you said, you won't like the person you have become. That is when you will understand, okay, I want to do something else. Like the example you gave me, like something as that might seem mundane to yourself, you blasting off at something that's mundane to yourself, that's like a signal that you don't like what you're doing. So that is like where
Yeah,
you can stop and, okay, this is not me, this is not
this is
me,
not
this is not how
exactly.
I want to be for the rest of my life. So I'm sure that one day break must have shifted everything within you. So what did you start post that? How are you taking care of yourself now?
Okay.
What have you
So,
incorporated?
so what happens when you are going through this kind of phase? You Google out first. You Google out everything that is there available. The resources that you want to get into. So initially, yes, I did started out with something as simple as like going doing exercise, some physical exercise, so that can pump me up. But I was not very happy with it because I was already lethargic with the entire household work, and it was not coming very easy to me. It was like an added task. So, that's how I started.
Right.
Then I was like, no, this is not working for me. Let's get into meditation. Now, this was a beauty of meditation. I used to do meditation at night, when everyone sleeps, and, that's the time I get for myself. And I've been still doing that because that's now been my protocol every day. I went through a lot of guided meditations, and that kind of was a was that first step that kind of made me feel little calm and at little peace. Could find a little solace within myself. It was that kind of a thing. But obviously, it was not fulfilling. It was just there for a short period of time, but it was not very fulfilling enough. And then I tried to do a lot of things like simple, like pampering yourself and those kind of things. But eh, then one day I was just playing with my colors, with the with Kian's color pencil. I was just playing with the colors, and I just took that notepad and I just went on and on and on for the 30-40 minutes, for approximately 30-40 minutes. And that 30-40 minutes, I wasn't thinking about anything else. I wasn't just thinking about anything else. I was just doing what I was doing. I was very mindful with whatever I was doing at that point in time. And that was a changing point because I thought somewhere my emotions came out, and it came out in the form of whatever I had drawn on the paper. And it was, if you see from your point of view, it will be a rubbish scribbles and some colors here and there, and you may find it abstract in nature. But that is what was like, there was a release of some emotion that went onto the paper. And that was like wow moment. What, this thing seems to
It
attract
clicked.
me, this seems things to be working for me. And that was the eureka moment for me, because I tried dance, singing, and you tend to figure out what should you do that to cheer yourself. And I desperately wanted to
Right.
cheer myself. And that flow of emotion that happened with a normal color and paper, and I was like, wow, this is something I should try. It was inner happiness. You may not see me dancing and doing yeah and all that, but it was like, yeah, it feels good. It's nice. It feels just lovely. And I was like, this is something which now I will start adopting daily. And that's how then I later on started with an entire mindful meditative art practice from that day onwards. So, after doing a couple of things, I could streamline one particular thing that could help me out to get out, of my this emotional pressure. So whenever I feel angry now, it's the paints and the colors, they do the magic for me.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because you have inadvertently walked yourself to the place where art is used as a therapy.
Yes.
Art is technically used as therapy, but you were not aware, but you walked yourself there
Yes.
because you tried a couple of things before you went there. Like you said, something could click or connect with you, with the kind of person or the personality you have.
Yeah.
And it might be something else for me, but it's important to try what clicks, what connects. And when it connects, you will know for yourself.
Yeah.
Like you said, you tried something, and then something else, dance, music, etc., which didn't give you that enough respite. But
Mm.
when you tried the art and it flowed, so
Yeah.
when it flows, it's like there is this connection
Yeah.
that happens. So yeah, it's important to keep trying under a couple of things, and then yeah,
Yeah.
meditation certainly helps
Yeah,
to
it felt
find
very
yourself.
therapeutic. Yeah, it felt very therapeutic
Mm,
at that time. It's like it
mm,
was like a doctor to me at that point of time. How you put it, doctor, and it. So that art at that point of time felt like it's a doctor. It's the medicine that is given to me, and it was
mm,
just wow experience, because I was going through
mm,
this entire dilemma, of not giving myself the priority, and that is what was like a pill to me to
mm.
come out of
So
it.
are you marking out a hour or something every day from then for yourself
So
every day?
yes, so now so moving on forward is what I realized, art is helping me, writing down my thoughts is helping me. And
Mm,
moving on forward, what I've done, I've started my day with art. So I
okay.
get up a little early,
Mm,
before my son gets up, and that I have almost an hour which I've given to writing down my thoughts. And I have an art journal now where I just
mm,
write down my thoughts. Sometimes I paint in it, sometimes I just
mm,
doodle in it, and
mm,
sometimes I just let my hand do the work, and not my mind do the work. And that is what
mm,
is work, because there's no agenda that today I have to do this, today I have to
mm,
do this. There's no agenda. And
mm,
something that I wanted to break out with was the agenda of the life, that
mm,
entire that check that you create for the day. I wanted to
mm,
break out of it. And this is
mm,
somewhere helping, because I write whatever comes into my mind. I write whatever if I'm worried about something, I just write it down, and then maybe I color it off, and then maybe I tear the paper and throw it away. It has no meaning to anyone, but it had a meaning to me because it healed me. So
mm,
these are the small steps. So yes, now I do have a schedule. I get up an hour early before my child wakes up. An hour I just focus on my art, my writing, and because when I start my day being very happy about something, then I've realized my day also goes a little better. I stop cribbing.
mm,
Obviously, the days up and down, some days are good, some days are bad. And when you have a bad day, again I take my art into picture, and again I scribble something, or again I do some. Okay, I've started doing even meditation with art. So what I basically do is, if you want to give me an example, it's something like, I may see an object which I love the most. Like I love
mm,
my coffee mug the most.
mm,
So I may take object, I may see the color very, I'll observe the color of that particular
mm,
coffee mug, and then, I may just take two, three variety of that same color, and may just draw circles, or may just draw just some brushes and all that in a sequence. So it
mm,
becomes very meditative in nature, because now you are doing that, you're continuing doing that, and it becomes very meditative in nature. So I
mm,
realize a blend of meditation and this art therapy kind of work for me. So
mm,
yes, that's
mm.
how I begin with art meditation as well.
Mm. I'm really happy for you because to hear that you have placed this segment at the top of your day instead of leaving it to the mercy of the day. So that means you
Yeah,
have taken charge of it and you have kept it the top of the day, and you are most likely to cover it at the start of the day than later. Everybody knows it. So the most
yeah,
important things come on the top and you have prioritized it. And so I can see that you're able to do it every single day, gives you a kind of a power to go about with the rest of the day. And I think you have come into a good connection with your and how things flow for you, and it's like a self reflection that has helped you
yeah, yeah,
come into what helps you, what works. Like you said, if
yes,
the day is going really particularly strong for you for some reason, you're
yeah,
picking up your art book again. So that is kind of helping you vent out your feelings and
yeah. When on
emotions,
my
etc.
feelings and
And
frustrations
writing
and emotions.
definitely helps, and it there is a physical discharge of emotion when you write, is what they say. So that's probably happening with you when you write down. And like you said, it may be meaningless for anybody else to read it, but when we write it down and then
Yeah,
it gets out of the system, we will feel the difference. So that's a simple thing
yes.
it might
I
look
think
like,
it's a
but
good.
it's very powerful too.
I think it's a good connect which I found with me, nature, and the spiritual, and whatever you call this,
Mm,
your power
mm,
which you want to relate to. I think it's a
mm,
good connect that I found uh,
mm,
pretty early. I thought I would have never found that so far, but yes, it did.
mm,
I did find out that connection because my day starts with art, my day ends with meditation. So I think it's a great connect of
mm,
with your spiritual self. So
mm.
yes, that's how it works.
Yeah, that's right, Sonam, because it's always personal, right? So, what makes more meaning to you? What makes it meaningful for you? If you're weaving it into your day, it becomes more like easier to walk through the day. Like it's personal. Like for somebody, it could be they need to finish their office or professional work at the start of the day so that they can spend rest of the evening for themselves and them and for family, etc.
True,
So whatever works,
true,
you
true,
if you
true.
do try a couple of ways, you'll zero in on what's personal and works for you.
Mm.
So it's always a
Yes,
journey. We'll figure it out sooner or later. So let's talk about kids. Kids have been the most impacted, and I know you're hugely into food art for kids, and it's your Instagram handle is very inspiring. And
thank you so
so
much.
yeah, so tell us about kids. Kids are being impacted. They are the most energetic, and they are meant to be in the confines of our homes, and they have the huge creative energy, huge physical energy, and they need to tone it down, and it's a huge challenge for them. Usually they can vent it out through different things they do, like they can go out, play, run around and do a lot of things than they are doing now. So there's a lot of
Mm.
frustration, anger that's bottled up, and they get crankier
Absolutely.
all the more. So let's talk about kids. So how is it going, and what are your tips on how do you manage and etc.
So I have a 4-year-old child, and he is super active baby, very hyperactive baby rather. And I remember when the lockdown started, he was very much fine about it at that point of time because maybe he might have thought it's just a thing, and whatever. You can't really read a kid's mind. He was very fine about it, but as it passed on, I could see his agitation, I could see his aggression, increasing, increasing, increasing. And, it was very important to release the energy that they need. And one of the best way to release their energy is to get into a very constructive mode of exercise, which they like, you know. So, so what I basically did with my son, I would be, able to tell you that what I did, I bought all those things which could release his energy. So, for example, he has he has a jumping jack which is right there in my corridor, like it's right in my corridor. I got a
Mm,
jumping jack for him because I wanted that release of energy which was very important for him, because that was not happening. It
mm,
was affecting his sleep cycle, his eating cycle, and things like that. So I did something like this, any physical form of exercise which can help a kid. That is what I got into. So I got into jumping, I got into the skipping ropes, and I started making things for him at home. So what you mean is I started making a hopscotch mat for him at home, and I started making this obstacle surface for him at home, simply because he can use his energy to constructive in a very interesting way. That's one aspect on how his physical energy had to be redirected. The second was obviously his emotional energy when it comes to not
mm,
meeting his friends, and things like that, and
right,
that's very much important. So now that is, as a parent, I feel, because you're helpless in such a circumstance,
right,
it's very important to let the kid release his emotion, even if he's getting angry at something, and if he's getting frustrated at something, let the kid release the emotion. Once the emotion is released, and
mm,
once all the crying and the whining and all that has happened, a normal hug, a normal kiss is what is they want, and what should be given to them at that point of time, because you are also helpless. You cannot do much. You also
mm,
don't have any surroundings. So what I see, parents getting angry when a child is getting angry, or parents feeling frustrated, when the child is going through a turmoil of emotion. So what I personally feel is, let that emotional release. Let that thing pass. Let them calm down. Once they calm down, you can talk about an action or a behavior. So I feel
mm,
that was very important. There are other interesting facts that I got into my child's life is like, when I meditate, I get him to meditate. So maybe he's not meditating, but he's listening something which is
Mm,
calming him down. So when I had started drawing, he hated drawing. Now he's picked up something. I
mm,
started making 4 food arts for him. He
mm,
started catching up on the food arts. So he started then telling me, Mom, I want to make cookies. I want to make this. So it is very important, which I would say, to listen to your child and go to the direction which they want to take you, rather than
mm,
you telling them what you want to do. So if a
mm,
child is showing interest in something, continue doing that rather than
mm,
telling him, no, you don't do this and do this. No, this
mm,
won't work. It will agitate them even more. So
mm,
I think it's very simple rules of life that you need to get into your child, and do things for them. So this is what I have managed to do with my child,
mm,
and I let his emotions flow. That's a very big thing, because I'll tell you how it has worked. He's become this angry young man, and now he's angry on little things. Now I've just so now he has learned that when he's angry, instead of throwing a tantrum and lying on the floor, he takes his space. I have made
mm,
a calm corner for him in his room. So I'm like, whenever you're angry, whenever you're anxious, whenever you're
mm,
sad, whatever, you can go to this calm corner space
mm,
and do whatever you like over there. You can
mm,
read, you can sing, you can dance, you can do nothing, you
mm,
can play, you can just take time off yourself. And
mm,
apparently, this simple technique seems to be working for him. He takes his
mm,
space. He literally takes his space for five,
mm,
10 minutes. And then he says,
mm,
okay, Mama, I want to do this. And I'm like,
mm.
okay. So I think emotions are there, these
Yeah.
emotions are going to come in kids. And instead of saying, no, don't do this, I think let this emotion pass
Mm,
and figure out a way to, work
mm,
on this for better
mm,
growth of ourselves. So
mm.
that is what seems to be working in my case. That calm corner seems to be really working.
Yeah. Tell us more about that calm corners. Do you have things that he can use when he's feeling, or is it, did you tailor it to his liking? Like he put his things, a few things of
Yes,
a, yeah, tell us.
yes, I have done that. So in near his calm corner, there is Alexa. So if
Mm,
he is feeling a little, if he wants to listen to music or whatever, he wants to tell Alexa, he can on the Alexa and say, yes,
mm,
Alexa, do this. There is one software of his which is there permanently on the in the calm corner space. So yes,
mm,
he is with that. He doesn't dance at all when he is agitated. He's not in the mood. So that element I had to remove it out. Then there is, yeah, he can do one thing. I have given him newspapers over there. So if he's feeling angry, he can tear the newspaper. He can scribble on the newspaper. He can do anything in that newspaper if he wishes to
mm,
let out his
mm,
whatever emotion he wants. He
mm,
can let it out. Then there are certain things which now I have to add in was, if he's calm. So currently he takes out he has a tricycle which he rides all over the home. So he removes his tricycle and he starts riding it. So this is a new addition in his calm corner which has come. So it's very his centric, whatever he wishes to do.
absolutely. Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes there are treats also. So treats in the sense whatever he likes, like whatever food he likes. Sometimes, which I actually don't want him to get into that. Whenever you're anxious,
Mm,
you eat something. Don't
mm,
wish that to happen, but yes, sometimes there are treats for him, like his favorite cookie, or
mm,
like maybe sometimes out of hunger also they act in a weird way. So
mm,
just to calm him
mm,
down, I have currently, which I want to remove it away. But yes, currently it is a part of his
mm,
calm corner. So yeah,
mm.
whatever he likes is part of his calm corner. These are
Right.
the things. And yes, his blocks
Yeah.
are a part of calm.
Okay. Yeah, that's really helpful. That's a helpful tip, Sonam, I'm sure. And most of the times, these kids are also losing their appetite. So most of them are not
Yeah.
feeling hungry, and even if they feel hungry, they don't want to have a particular food. They become more picky. You're majorly into food, art, and helping kids eat. So
Yes.
have you got anything that helps, like whatever helps your kid and whatever could be helpful?
So I'll tell you what happens is, because I'll tell you what problems I got to know was, because of there were limited ingredients, so there were limited food stuff available for the same reputation of food. And yes, that got kids little picky about, things. They don't want to eat the same repetitive things and things like that. I think the entire idea is to make it fun for them. And, I'm sure food art is something which I do, but not every mom can, do it. They can do simpler things like, for their
Mm,
kids. Like, maybe the roti is round, so maybe they can make it like a sun or things like that. Second bit of it is offering is to keep a schedule,
mm,
irrespective whether they are hungry or whether they are not hungry. I would always say, a mom, whether you have a routine, create a routine for the food.
mm,
It's very important. A break of 2-3 hours is very important, so that the child knows that he has a hunger pang, or the child
mm,
can understand whether he is hungry, he is not hungry. So
mm,
scheduling works in my list. The second bit to scheduling is offering variety of the same set of food. So,
mm,
like, I'll give you a very simple example. How you give a banana. You may peel a banana and give it to your child. The
mm,
next day you have banana, cut the banana in round circles, put a little peanut butter and give it to your child. The
mm,
third day you have bananas,
mm,
maybe make it into long shapes or mix
mm,
it with some curd, or or whatever, with a
mm,
smoothie or a oat, and then give a banana. So what I'm trying to say, a small variety is what will keep them going and interested in food. So
mm,
if their appetite is dropping, a variety in the same stuff will make, not in the same stuff, but a variety will help them to
mm,
improve their appetite. And you never know what works and what will not
mm,
work for your child.
mm,
Thing a child might have stopped eating may start to revive. It will be a
mm,
revive for a mother. Okay, to see, oh wow, my child is eating this.
mm,
So in my case, my son never ate pomegranate for like 1.5 year.
mm,
And like literally from the lockdown till now, he never ate pomegranate. And one day I just made custard and I just sprinkled pomegranate on it, and bingo, he just ate it. So,
mm.
it's like variety is the key, and you never know what variety can work for a child. So
Correct.
that is what I will say. And you don't really need to work hard for the variety. You
Mm,
have to just make simple changes. If your
mm,
child is even younger, like
mm,
it's a toddler or a 3-year-old child, you give
mm,
a slice of apple, next day shred the apple and give.
mm.
It's a variety for the
Right.
child. It will not be the
Yeah,
variety for you.
yeah, that's true, because sometimes in a different shape and form they accept, but as it is as a whole they may dislike, or it kind of, I don't
Yeah.
know if it brings about a different psychological reaction or response to a fruit or something. But
Yes.
fruits and
Yes.
snacks seem to be at least okay. But when you come to the main meals, most parents struggle. Like for example, there can be variety of fruits and snacks, but when you come to the main meal, it's the same dal, chawal, roti, sabzi, etc. And that's where people struggle. You have any tips on the main meals?
So with the main meals, what will I say? Even like with main meal, I think it's all about how we prepare it for them. It's
Okay.
all about that for the main meals, because roti, sabzi, dal, rice is a constant thing that every household has and every household will continue to have. But how should I put it across? Like for example, even the male meals, you can do a lot of varieties. For example, if one day you're giving roti sabzi, the same, the very next day, you can hear me now?
Yeah.
Something that,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So basically, make it a paratha of that, with whatever ingredient you want to use. Make it a paratha. The next day, make it a dosa. So that kind of variety can work for a child, because then, see, as the entire constraint of the parent is, okay, the child has to eat healthy food. How
Mm,
you can make healthy is you can even make a pizza healthy for that matter.
mm,
You can make a big roti base and make it healthy for a child and give it to your child, and with all the veggies around. So I think it's little bit mehnat, parents have
mm,
to do to get down to their child's, what you call it, the psychology of the child. Because right now food is one thing which is keeping them, I won't say alive, but which is keeping them motivated in some form or the other. Food
mm,
is something which they are looking at this point of time. Currently, with the crisis going on,
mm,
currently, which is them motivated because they have nothing else to look upon. So yes, food is something which they will look upon currently at this point of time.
mm,
But yes, even roti, sabzi, dal, rice, I think it's all about, then over there the scheduling bit works a lot, because if you've
mm,
given a good gap of 3 hours, then the child is bound to eat roti, sabzi. And sometimes you should listen to their cues,
mm,
like never force feed them, or listen to the cues like, the child is demanding rice today. Okay, then go, then eliminate or reduce a portion of your roti and go with more with the rice. So that kind of, it's very personal. It's very one to
Mm.
one with the mother and the child, where they can change it. But yes, the two things that will always work: scheduling and variety is the key for them to eat
Mm.
their meals, even
That's
normal meals.
you have made a very relevant point with everything else around them in up in the air, being up in the air. Probably food is the only solace they have right now, and the kind of that's the most intimate connection even grown-ups have, right? Food is our only way, yeah, to connect with the nature or connect with ourselves also. When we like, when we eat the food we like, we have a certain kind of happiness that we enjoy. So
Yes,
probably, yeah, so probably, yeah, they also sometimes being kids, they want to release whatever they are feeling through their tantrums around food, because they seem to have a little bit of control over that. So that is their
yes.
level playing field, and I guess that's probably we can give in to that a little bit during this quarantine and all that lockdown period, because
See, I'll
there's
I'll
no
put it.
other.
I'm sorry I'm cutting you, but I'll put it
Mm,
across very clearly over here. You remember the first happened? Every mom, every parent was like cooking luxurious meals, trying a cake and a muffin and a this and you. If you remember, the first bit
mm,
of the lockdown happened. Why that happened? Because food was the only thing that was the wow factor of your life at that
mm,
point in time. Now, although everyone is like
mm,
maybe ordering from outside, whatever situation. But the
yeah,
first day, everyone was working on the food bit
right.
of it. Food is, that satisfaction bud right
Mm,
now that we have in our life, and we cannot take it away. So with kids, yes, they have control over food. They have their demands over food,
mm,
and it's very it's like once you meet their demand, two times don't meet their demand, third time again meet their demand, four times, fourth, fifth time don't meet their demand. It's
mm.
that kind of
You can
equation that
mix and
right now
match.
we need to, yeah,
Yeah,
we need to maintain it.
yeah, yeah. Like, and also sometimes, like for example, that also makes me think. Probably on a regular day where they could go to school and where they could do all sorts of things, they're not very, they're less pickier, or they would probably eat the same meal without, because they have other things to do. Like they want to go out and play,
Yeah,
they'll probably sit down and eat, or they want to do something else. They have other things to look out for, and then that occupies their bandwidth also. And then sometimes, yeah, because otherwise they have nothing else in the outside world right now, so that's they're focusing all channeling all their energies to food. Okay, let's
channeling their
let's
energies on food.
let's make
Yeah,
it easier right for them by giving in into it a little bit, as much as we can. Like, it's not like give them a snack or whatever they want for each meal, but probably we
yeah,
can
no,
talk
no, no.
to them and give in whatever, a couple of times, and a favorite food and a favorite cookie here and there should be easy for them.
So I don't know whether you got me right or not, but what I mean, if it's time for lunch, the lunch meal only should be served.
Hmm.
A snack meal should not be served in the time of your lunch. So that's what I meant by scheduling.
Yeah,
The
yeah, that's
schedule should
true.
remain
I
the
got it.
same.
I got it. No,
Yeah, the schedule should.
yeah, like going that extra mile to make their
Mm.
favorite food and incorporate it into
Yeah.
the whatever routine works
Yes.
for us is what I
Yes.
was saying. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because it also, like, even the parents are also at their wits end with everything going on.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yes.
sometimes that's like the both the differ in this point of view, I guess, because for the first time everybody was at home, they had so much energy, and moms and even everybody became a master chef, right? And now the
Yes.
things in the second, it's like a repeat, it's like a relapse. Nobody seems to have the same energy. More than energy, it's about the lack of enthusiasm for
Mm.
what is this happening, when is this going to end, all these kinds of questions that's occupying the parents bandwidth, and they don't
Yes.
find it so enthusiastic, or they don't have the same energy to do all the stuff they did last year. So that's
Yeah.
also boiling down to kind of lack of interest in making a lot of variety of dishes for 6 members in a family, etc. So that's also something that's probably pulling people down, but yeah,
I
a
would
little
like
bit
to
here and
add
there.
an extra tip over here. If books work for you,
Mm,
buy books for them, which has context to food. Like,
mm,
like my son has The Thief Who Stole Tomato. That's one of the book. he has,
Okay.
and
Hmm.
like, any contextual books with respect to food, you can get them from there. You
Hmm.
can get or buy that for your kids. That also seems to work. Yeah,
Hmm.
because my son used to not, he doesn't like to eat raw tomatoes.
Hmm.
So that he at least took a bite of a raw tomato, things like that. So these kind of books which have reference to food, that also can work with a child if the child is very keen on
Hmm. Hmm.
on reading about that.
Right.
This also works. It's a
Yeah.
very offbeat thing, but it does.
Yeah, it actually has a double advantage. Like your kid will be occupied for a certain part of the time reading it, and you can enjoy it with your kid reading the book, right? And also, if there's something to do with the food, like you said, if they can take interest in a food they haven't tried before because they have read in a book, seen in a movie. Yeah, that happens with even us also, right? So probably we can try that. Okay, thank you so much, Sonam. There are very useful tips. And just to wind up, what are your favorite things in a day? Like, are you the must do's in your day? I think we have got that a little bit. Like, you're doing this art journaling every single day, right? So, is there anything you will definitely do on a day, particular day, as part of
So
your?
yes, as I have told you earlier, my routine of the night and the morning routine doesn't change. My art meditation happens in the morning, and my normal guided meditation happens at the night. That's a must thing with whatever writing I want to do. That's a must thing that happens during the day. There's 1 hour of the so there's another part of the day I and my son get into some physical form of fitness. So he is doing his stuff. He's maybe jumping on the jack or whatever, and I may be running or doing something or just a Zumba or just a little bit dance for
Hmm.
15-20 minutes. So yes, that's another bit of thing which is a part of my doing. So
Okay.
these two are there for my emotional healing. And yeah, I do connect. So there's a very conscious attempt that I have done is I do connect with my friends and families over a
Hmm.
call almost every alternate date with someone or the other, so that I am
Hmm.
somewhere, equipped with my social circle, and I don't want to let
Hmm.
it go.
Right.
That's
Right.
an important thing. It's actually my to-do list that I have to call up someone, in the
Hmm.
WhatsApp space, I do take an initiative to call. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's how my day has to be for myself.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. We sometimes neglect our own friends because we don't get to call them as often as we like to. And it's good to
Yeah.
catch up. And yeah, I do that too. I have started doing that for myself, like keeping in touch with, constantly in touch with our friends and connecting with them every now and then. Yeah. It happens because we are into different walks of life. And then sometimes we kind of, there's a gap that comes in between, but it's always good to fill that up and stay more connected,
I
more
think
so
we've got
these
an
days, right?
opportunity.
Huh?
I think we've got an opportunity now to reconnect
Yeah,
with them. So
right, right.
better.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Sonam, for taking out time for this, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for inviting or having me here. I really loved this session with you.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank